dude, you look like hell. So he put me in contact with a doctor named Gabriel Lyon. She deals with nothing, but she's like married to a SEAL and like deals with nothing but like SEALs, Delta, like special operations, stuff like that. Every single person that she has worked with that has been over in like places comes back and has some sort of parasite. In order to get tested for this, they need to put a probe up your butt, because I did not know that was gonna happen. But like literally the guy he's like, okay, bend over the table and stuff, and he starts doing the probe thing, and I'm like, are we done? Like this is taking a while. What's you know? And he's like, yeah, you wouldn't believe this is 10 inches long. And I literally ripped around. You're thinking the same thing I was thinking.
Yes, yeah. Not good.
I'm like, 10 inches, right?
Welcome to the Shaw Strength Podcast. I am your host, Brian Shaw. And today, I have a great guest in Brian ALSRUHE. Now, Brian is for people that maybe don't know him, very interesting individual is what I'm going to say. So you got a background, you know, some martial arts, right? Some strongman. Yeah. You did a really interesting government job. Is that the best way to describe that?
You could say it like that.
Yeah, government job where, you know, I mean, I feel like you got to do some pretty cool things.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
that.
Got to see the world on the government's dime and did counterterrorism stuff for them, and
which is, I mean, yeah, that's the whole different thing, man. So a lot of, to put it mildly, a lot of life experience. Right?
Yeah. I've lived a lot of different lives.
Yes, yeah, which is interesting, and then you've gained knowledge from all of that and you know, different experiences. And so, you know, I think today it's neat to have you out in Colorado, number one, right? And we're sitting down and it's been kind of fun, like before getting into the podcast, like we've kind of been reminiscing a little bit and, you know, talking about the past. And I think potentially the last time you were in the gym, we did some training in that, like 2018. Yeah. Probably around that time.
Yep.
Right. So you came out and we did some different stuff there. And then we were, at, I guess one of our houses, like back then, right? And so it was like that we had the gym in the garage and all that. So it was neat, man. And then things have grown and progressed since then. Yeah, which is fun, but it's like it's crazy also how quick time goes by. Yeah, right. Like you talk about stuff like that with somebody like you, and it's like, oh, we did this and that, but it was that was 7 years ago. Yep. Right. It seems like a blink of an eye.
And I was talking to James, I believe we were the first or maybe the second. It was myself, Nick Myers, and Andy Shadow. Yeah. Were on your podcast. We were like the first.
In the gym.
The gym with like, it was like 2x4s and like a piece of plywood with like a sheet over it. Like, and we were just out there like after training, like talking and stuff. Like, man, it was great. And I think about like the first time I met you was at the Arnold, I guess it was probably 2008, 17, 18, probably.
I think 17, because I remember you coming to my room.
Yes.
Right after maybe the first day of competing, or maybe it was before. I can't remember.
It was before the first night.
Yeah, I was probably a little bit beat up after the first day. But I remember having a conversation, man, and like we were talking some of the video content stuff. Yep. Right, because at that point, like I had the YouTube channel. Yep. Which I actually had started in 2008 when I did, but it was like I was just trying to piece stuff together. Yep. And I remember you saying, you're like, man, like you really need to go harder, try to go harder on the YouTube stuff and you know, really get more content on there and whatever, because you were really rolling.
Yeah, I was doing all right
at that point. Yeah. And it was kind of eye-opening because I had dabbled is probably the right word, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, we'll put out this little training thing or this little whatever, but it wasn't really substantial. Yeah. It wasn't a lot of substantial content and you know, stuff that people could learn from or interact with more or whatever. Right. And so I vividly remember that conversation where I was like, hey man, like, all right, because you were saying to me like, Brian, you have all these people following you. What are you doing? Like, why are you not doing more with that? Yeah. And it was kind of like this light bulb of like, all right, this is a guy that's doing it. Like, and I'm super interested in doing it and putting out more and whatever. And like the base is already kind of there. Yeah. But it was, I definitely appreciated that conversation because it was like one of those things where it was like, yeah, it's totally open doors of whatever you want to do. You know?
It does. Yeah. It's YouTube has opened more doors for me than like anything else in my life. Like it really has, you know. But I remember being at that Arnold and And that first night, like you swept all the events. And I remember just being like, this dude's incredible. And Braxton was like a little baby.
Yeah, he would have been not even a year, probably.
Yeah, he had little blue
he was
earphones
born in
on.
16, so yeah, he would have been 8 months or somewhere in there. Yeah.
And I remember sitting next to Carrie, and we were like right in the front row at like the Arnold, and you had just done something incredible. And I remember her handing Braxton up to you and you holding him like he was like the Lion King. And I was like, dude, this is awesome.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I remember he had the ear protectors on. Yeah.
And then we all went out to like cryotherapy or something that night. Yes. And I remember you sat down on a chair and the chair broke. I was like, dude, who is this dude? You know?
Yeah. I've broken my fair share of chairs and different things on accident. It's not on purpose. Yeah. But, you know.
But man,
that's crazy.
It's so funny to think back, and like we were just talking, like the next year or two, like we went out and Steve held a strongman competition, and we were out there. Yep, great guy. And Nick, who has now been a world champion, Nick Myers, like my right hand man. He got hit in the head. There was a Hercules hold there.
That was
remember that?
So scary, dude. Yeah.
Like one of the pillars came down and just smashed him in the face. And, but yeah, I remember like all of that. And that night, I remember sleeping over at your house, and myself, Andy, and Nick were all sleeping in the basement, and Carrie and Braxton at the time had gone to bed. And I remember you walking to bed above us.
Oh, geez.
And it sounded like a horror movie, like Halloween time, right? I remember that it was like dust was falling,
oh my God.
It was like do. I was like, holy crap, man.
I weighed a little bit more. I did.
You did. But man, it was such a, it's been such a cool ride. And then I actually disappeared for about 3 years, because the last 3 years I've been finishing my master's degree for clinical mental health, because I want to work with men, right?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Because I truly believe that the mental health world has let men down big time, right? Like, because it's so effeminate. Like, you can't go to a therapist that's not wearing like a sweater vest. Like, They don't look like us. They don't talk like us. They don't act like us. They don't think like us. Like, so I've spent 30 years of my life like training people physically, like one way or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And I was really like, you know what? Like people are not where they want to be physically, and it's not because of lack of programming, it's not lack of knowledge, it's not lack of drugs, not lack of food, not lack of anything, right? Like they have everything. Because like when you and I came up, we had like one muscle magazine, right? Like Muscle and Fitness or whatever. Like we didn't know anything.
That was what you looked at, yeah.
But you had hard work and you had a mindset, right? And you built it. And like people these days have everything, and the reason why they're not getting it literally is mental. It's all mental. So I spent the last 3 years really just focusing in, looking at the mind and studying the mind and being like, what is it that like we're missing? What's the missing point? And like, so now it's been cool because like I have tools on the whole mental side along with the physical side. And so like I can take like an average athlete and make them a great athlete. I can make a great athlete into an elite athlete. But then like on the other side, like stuff like being a dad and a father, things that we're going to get into in this conversation, those things, like being an average dad or an average father, or even a good dad or a good father, like changing how like you communicate, or like how you like mentally check in with stuff and like do things. Like it's really a mental game, like how you approach. I mean, you know that, right? Like being able to balance the warrior with the poet, the dad with the lifting, the businessman with the, like, it's all about balance. And that all comes down to the mental game. So I've really gotten to take 3 years of my life and just, I mean, I'm still making videos and still lifting and still training and stuff, but like grad school takes up time.
Big time.
It does.
Yes,
right?
It does. Yeah.
It's a different kind of grind. It's not, I would never say it's hard because I've worked for a life and I know what work is, yes, right? So it's not like hard like that, but it's just, it's a time drain, you know, but I'm going to walk out of here and theoretically in less than a year, I'm going to be a licensed counselor or therapist, but like, I'm not approaching it like normal therapy, like a normal therapist would, right? Like, cause I don't really, it's not that I don't believe in mental health. Like I do believe in mental health, but I think everyone could be using mental toughness training, right? Like everyone can like learn how to like push their levels of discomfort and things like that, because we live in a soft world, you know what I mean? Like, and the reason why people aren't getting the place that they want to get, whether it be in the gym or with their families or in their job or whatever, it comes down to their mental game. Yeah. And so now I'm doing mental coaching because I'm officially like an intern now. Like I need so many hours before I can get my license.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, like I'm literally booked out of people, just athletes, regular guys, like whoever, but yeah, and just able to do it. And plus I have the kind of counterterrorism background. So like guys like police, military, fire, those types of people, they do not want to talk to somebody who doesn't understand a little bit of what they've been through, right?
You can't relate.
No, it's like strongman. Like people are like, oh, that looks heavy. You're like, his nose is bleeding. Like his face is exploding because of the pressure.
Yes.
Like you don't heavy doesn't quantify what that dude's going through there. Like, and
it's an interesting thing. I mean, just to unpack that, man, it's incredible. But you know, it's I think something that I would agree with 100%, right? The mental side. And I think that now I've had several different conversations about this with people recently, ironically enough that you're, bringing this up because, like you said, we're growing up. And what did you have? What did you have access to? We didn't really have the internet.
No.
Right? We didn't have social media.
No.
And it truly was. It was magazines. But I remember, you'd look at a magazine and what would come through from the pictures was, man, these guys, even though now in hindsight, right, the pictures were photo shoots.
Sure.
But it's like, holy cow, look at the intensity.
Yep.
Like that's what it was. And so it was kind of, an immediate thing for me, I guess, when I started lifting weights, for example, I found out quickly the harder that I worked, the better the results were.
Yep. And
then I love that aspect of it because I could push harder and then I would find a new level. And then, it's I guess with both of our backgrounds in different ways, but like basketball, I was really thankful for one of my coaches in college because it was quite literally, he would take you to the breaking point. Like just, you're going to break, right? So it's like, I don't know if I can finish this. I don't know if I can do this with the conditioning side of things.
Yeah.
Right. And then you would do it. You didn't die.
Yep.
And then you would come back and it was like, well, man, I just unlocked a new level.
Yes.
Right. Like I was able to do that. And so then you gain this extra confidence through hard work and through building, you build discipline, but it's a lot of people never, ever get to that level. They never get to that level of discomfort.
Yes.
And because truth be told, your mind is such a powerful tool.
Yes.
Right. And if you are, I guess, like kind of that's the level. And then your mind's like, oh, wait, this is hard. Stop. Don't do it. And you never push through that.
Yes.
There's so much on the other side of that.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's such it's a neat topic to talk about because discomfort can be a very beneficial tool.
It's the beneficial tool.
Yes.
Right. Like every single thing that you've ever achieved in your life, you've achieved a lot, brother. Right. Yeah. Like every single thing that you have achieved has been on the other side of you getting very uncomfortable or a lot of hard work or
absolutely.
Everyone's like, oh, overnight success. I'm like, overnight success is such BS, man. It's been a 10-year journey where like suddenly like you got noticed, right? But like you've been working your face off behind the scenes, like on this, like people don't understand, right? And like people too many times, especially in training, like training is such an easy thing, right? Because like training can be like about your biceps, or training can be like a vehicle for like mental, emotional, spiritual change. Yes. Right. And like what you just said about like that coach that taught you like here, he put a carrot, like a milestone in your life, right? Like he literally took you to a point and you've had training sessions that you can look back on that were 20, 30 years ago that you remember like it was yesterday because you pushed to a different level. Right. Yep. And it came down to like, I need to get it done one rep at a time, one set at a time, 1 second at a time, one whatever at a time, right? And like when you look at your life, like when you get real things hit you, like real things, not like, oh, my Instagram feed or whatever, but like when real things hit you, sometimes you have to take life 1 day at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, one decision. Like that's how you do it, right? But like, and a lot of people don't believe that like working harder in the gym is going to make you mentally tougher or build you into a different person, but I think that's complete BS, man. Yeah. Because I can say for myself, like I have been able to look at, like my mom has Parkinson's, right? And when I found out that my mom had Parkinson's, that was like a 700-pound squat on me, dead cold, just like, absolutely. What are you going to do, right?
Yes.
And there is no like incremental, get ready for this battle. Yeah, the battle is here, right? Yeah. And when those things happen, if you have milestones in your life where you're like, I didn't think that I could get through that, right? But I broke it down into small, manageable parts. Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Like, if you can break things down into small, manageable parts and just do the next thing, take the next step, you know what I mean? Like that's how you get through. That's how winning is done.
Yes.
And man, it's just so like so many people in our world, they give up too early because they haven't pushed themselves voluntarily to a place, right? Like I was watching you train earlier today, right? Like failure is like a point, right? And like, I know like David Goggins has talked a lot about this stuff and things, and he's got his own thing, but like our things are different, right? Like, and when you're pushing, like failure means one thing to you that does not mean it's somebody else. And like, that is the difference. Arnold said it back in Pumping Iron forever ago, that like the difference between a winner, a champion, and like a loser is like, who's willing to like push further into that, right? And like, you have proven time and time again, and I would argue that I've proven time, like we know how to deal with pain.
Yes.
Right. And like, when you've learned that in the gym, it's been a lifelong lesson of going in every day and just pushing, right? And that has changed. It's literally forged you into a different type of human being that you could be otherwise. Right?
I've said, and I'm sure you would agree with this 100%. I think every single person should train.
I agree. 1,000%.
And the benefit, and it's not even because you don't even have to be a person that necessarily has, goals and aspirations where you want to compete, right? Like, okay, yes, I used strongman and had strongman in my life, and that was a big driving force, right? Like I had a deadline, I had to get ready for a contest, and this is what I needed to do to perform. So yes, I had my back up against the wall in that capacity to get ready for that contest. But also before strongman, I was still pushing myself in the gym. Right. And I would say to a lot of people, like I would have trained regardless of competing in strongman. Like I would have used it. Right. So it's kind of like this spot where, early on when I was getting into lifting, and this was another conversation that I think fits completely. So I was doing, did you ever do the 20 rep squat?
Yeah,
training?
Of course I did.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a thing, man, where it's like, it was walking in the gym, and that whole, the whole premise of that was basically you're going to do a set of 20 with your 10 rep max. Right. So you're going to find a way, one rep at a time. So you're going to get through the first 10, and then you're probably going to stand there. And then you're going to get 11. And then you're going to stand there, and it's however many minutes of squats, but you're loaded the whole time, and you're just going to breathe, and then you can do one more. And then you can do, and by the end of it, it's like that last rep happens, and you can't walk anymore. And you're on the floor, but you have this sense, and it's hard to explain, right? Like it's this sense of nervousness going into the workout. Right? Because like, this is what I have to do, and now I've taken the weight up slightly, maybe from the last time I did it. And now I'm going to find it. Like, all right, where is that spot that I'm going to have to go mentally to tell myself that I'm going to do it? Right. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to find a way. Right. And I think that was something that that was before I was competing in strongman, but it was just like, hey, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to grow. Like I'm going to force myself into a extremely uncomfortable spot under my own will. I want to do this, right? I want to do this to push myself and to get better. And then I would walk out better. But doing something hard, like really hard like that, is such a great way to build discipline. Right. And to unlock those next levels of, okay, I'm in the middle of this, but the pain is temporary. It's going to be temporary. And you can get comfortable. In a weird way, you can get comfortable being in a very painful, uncomfortable spot and just live there. Right. And a lot of people, when they start to even approach that, they've never gone to that spot. They've never unlocked it, and it gets hard, and they shut it down completely because they've never gone to that next level. Right. And I think there's so much beauty in a way, which maybe it's a strange word to use, but it's like, once you unlock that for people, and I'm sure you've as well trained people where it's like you kind of push them past that comfort, and they get there, and the look on their face, they're like, holy cow, I just did that.
The impossible just came reality.
And I can't believe that I did that. And it's such a neat thing to see people experience it. But I think that level of growth and discipline, like I think that with discipline, like I say, for me, it's like discipline has to be trained. Like you can't, even for both of us, I would argue, right? Like there's certain spots in our life where we've been extremely disciplined.
Yeah.
Extremely disciplined. And it was like not even a, you know, I mean, there's different things that I did. And one of my favorite tools for that is cold water.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's been my thing. So like when I was competing in strongman, I used it as a recovery modality, but even potentially more so than that, it was building discipline.
Yep.
Right. So like I would go out and because I eventually got a cold tub at my house, I would go out at night, and it was in the winter, right? So it'd be like, sometimes it would be, you know, less than 10 degrees cold, snowing. And it was like, it's just me, right? It's just me.
Yep.
Nobody
no
else
one's watching,
knows.
no Instagram.
Nothing, right? Like, and it's just like, am I going to do it or not? But then within me, I would walk out and I would get in that freezing cold water. Sometimes the snow was coming down and I would look up, you know, and it was like, I'm winning.
Yes.
Like it was, I'm winning right now because I'm doing this thing and it's like so uncomfortable and it's so hard and whatever. And I would always think to myself, because I'm going to compete against different guys. And I was like, I don't think any of those other guys would do this.
Exactly.
Right? Like I'm willing to do it and they're not going to do it.
Yep.
But then like I've done now, and even to this day right now, like I will start every single day with it. Minimum is a cold shower.
Yeah.
Which, you know, the cold tub is more uncomfortable than that, but it like at least, I can't say even now it's like, oh yeah, let's get a freezing cold water. Let me jump into that first thing. I don't want to do it, but every day I force myself to do it. So it's like these, I guess, habits in a way that you build, because even though I was disciplined in the past, or training would be the same way, right? Like strength isn't loyal.
No.
So like you can be super strong at one point, but you quit training. Well, guess what? That strength's going away.
Yep.
Right. So it's like,
that's a great quote.
Discipline is something that has to be trained too.
Yeah.
Right.
1,000%.
To be sharp mentally. So I mean, I love what you're touching on, man. Like it's so, I agree with it so much. And I think that, you know, for a lot of people, it can be such a great tool and so helpful to make them better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Like, I mean, I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. I know that you do.
Yeah.
Like just inspiring people to be a better version of themselves.
Yes. And like, I really believe that people should be, every single day, you should do something that scares you, right? Whether it be a set of 20 squats, getting into cold water, go travel somewhere, right? Like we're in Colorado for 2 months. Like we've been in here for like 2 months, right? And like, it was so scary to me. And the main scary part was that we have 2 big Rhodesian Ridgeback dogs and we had to drive them across the country. And I was like, we've never driven these dogs more than like an hour and a half. I don't know how it's going to go.
And what do they weigh? They're big, right?
They're like 130 pounds each.
Big dogs.
And they're big dogs. And like it's a 25-hour commute, right? So we're like, let's start driving. But here we are, man. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And like, but I truly believe that if you're able to every single day challenge yourself mentally to the point where like you do something, like you overcome, right? Yeah. Like you do something, like something scares you. Like if you're going into your workout and you don't have a little bit of trepidation, like there's not a little bit of anxiety of like, that is going to be the hard part right there. That's the hard set. That's the hard thing that I'm going to do. If you don't have that, you're probably not working enough to make substantial change.
I would agree. Yeah. You need to have, that's a great way to say it. A little bit of anxiety in a way.
Yep.
Right. It's like, okay, that's going to be my challenge.
Yes.
That's going to make me grow.
Yep.
You know, and it doesn't have to, the cool part of it is you can do, you know, with training, there's so many different ways to train.
Yes.
That it doesn't need to be like a big weight.
No, it can be body weight.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And like for some people, it literally is walking to the mailbox, right? Like for some people, that's their big hard thing for the day. For other people, it's 1,000-pound deadlift, right? Like
whatever. Yep.
There's different things, but like if you are not pushing yourself, like I'm telling you, man, like there's the physical thing, right? And the physical thing is great, and everyone should train for the physical purposes, right? Because then we've learned like muscle is an organ of longevity, not to mention like the quality of life you're going to have, not to mention the armor that it gives you for
100%.
All of those things, right? But like there's a reason why Arnold doesn't look like Arnold used to look, right? It's because time wins, right? Yep. Like we're all melting cheese. Like it's eventually going to catch up. There's a reason why there's no 80-year-old Olympians, right?
Yes.
But like, if you are not getting something else out of your training than just like this ego shield, right? Like you need to be building something, and you get that opportunity every single day, because both of us know, especially as we get older, sometimes you show up to the gym and strength didn't show up to the party, right? Like,
yeah, you might be, yeah.
It's just not there, and like you can either bang your head against the wall. And listen, if you're 24 and you're like, oh, I'm not strong, like find it, dude, figure it out.
Yes,
right. Like
you're different. Yes,
you're superhuman right now. You just don't know it, right? Yeah. Like take advantage of every day.
You'll realize it down the road a little bit. It was different. Yeah.
But like you hit like 40, mid 40, like stuff starts changing, and you start being like, man, like sometimes it's not there. But that doesn't mean that like you can't go, like you guys were doing dips today, right? Yep. Like go in and hit body weight dips, like do some conditioning, fix your technique, do some, like you can walk out of the gym winning every single time. And like the key to this entire game is pushing yourself harder than you want to, longer than you want to, heavier than you want to, and doing that consistently, right? And the only way that you do something consistently is getting wins, right? Because like no one likes to lose, and if you keep going in the gym and you just keep not getting the numbers that you're supposed to get and whatever, but like it's so funny, like when we're talking about like people actually pushing themselves and stuff, like I love RPE stuff, but only for lifters who are very advanced. Because like there've been so many times in a strongman competition where I like start doing something and I'm like, I've got five, I'm going to top out at 5. Right. And then like everything hits, right? Like your fight or flight sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and like you start going and the crowd's going and nothing. And suddenly you're on 6, 7, 8. And so one more, what? And you do another, one more, and you do another. Even in the gym with your buddies, like you get that, right? And suddenly like where you thought you were done at 5, you're done at 10, just same as like the 20 squats, right? And like, I think most people where they think failure is, and this is a lesson for life. This isn't just lifting, right? But like where you think your glass ceiling is, where your preconceived notion of like your genetics or whatever other excuse, like your time limit, your whatever, like whatever you're throwing out there for why you can't get it done. Like your limit is not the limit. That you're letting either your body make decisions that your mind should make, right? Because like you and I have both been in situations where like you're doing a carry or like a drag or something, right? And you're just burning and you're on fire and you're like, there is no way, right? But like you're gonna keep going.
Figure it out.
You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna find it, right? And like, I don't think people spend enough time in that realm. And I think it was easier for our generation because things were harder. Like they were, right? Like you didn't have GPS, you didn't have social media, you didn't like, you went out and without a credit card, without like your parents were like, all right, 16-year-old, I'll see you in a couple hours, I guess. Cause there's no phones, there's no, like if you get into trouble,
you got to figure it out.
Or the police are going to call me, right? Like that's,
well, I think it's, and this is an interesting, I mean, you know, shift a touch is, you know, and it's not necessarily like kids today, the younger generation, whatever, it's not their fault.
No,
right? Like all these things came up and now they're there.
Yeah.
But it's, I think all about taking the always the easiest path, the path of least resistance. And that's what society has shifted towards, right? So it's like you could do something hard or you could do something easy. There's an easier way to do it. I'm going to take that. I'm going to do that, right? And yes, for some things, maybe that's okay. But like by and large, doing things the right way, doing things that challenge you, that's uncomfortable, right? And a lot of people don't want to get to that uncomfortable spot because everything now is easy. Everything has gotten easier, right? And even for us, right? Like it's, you know, there's ways to do things easier, which again, some of it can be a benefit, right? Which is great. Like, okay, I don't have to necessarily go to the encyclopedia and look something up. I can type it in my phone and here it is, and this is the answer. And so I get to save all of that time. But on the other hand, you know, it's making society soft. Right? Like that's I think what everything is doing. And unfortunately it's like the, you know, the frog in the hot water kind of thing, right? Like the temperature's going up. And I think by and large, a lot of people aren't realizing what is happening right in front of your eyes. So then you become softer, not even necessarily realizing sometimes that this is what it is. But the generation, I would say our generation, like really, I'm so thankful that we didn't grow up with cell phones. And I'm so thankful that like, hey, if you did get in trouble, you had to figure it out.
Yes.
Right. That was what it was. And there wasn't this constant safety line and safety net. And, you know, it's sad in a lot of ways that the world has changed, right? Because, you know, and I grew up in not a big town. So it's like, oh, you're going to go get on your bike in the morning, go play with your friends, go do whatever. And then just by the time the street lights come on, just get back home. Right. And that was completely cool. But now, you know, things are just different. Right. Where it's like, you can't really send your kid out to do that. Right. I mean, you know, Carrie and I, one of the things we want the boys to go get their hands dirty. Right? Like just go be a boy and do that. And there's so much growth in creativity and like that type of thing. And so, you know, it's like, how do we bring some of that back? How do we bring some of it back? And I think, like, you know, some of the stuff you're talking about with, especially for men, right? Like, and I was touching on this, and we can talk about some of the stuff outside of the gym where we've had different challenges, you know? And Carrie gets on me a little bit about this because, you know, as in the position that I'm in, right? Like, as a man, it's like, and maybe it's, you know, because of my upbringing slightly, like, again, you're going to figure it out. Like, as a man, I think there's a certain level of responsibility that you carry to be the provider and to have things figured out. And so it's not, you know, as we go through different struggles. And so, like, you know, for example, like my, this leg infection that I've dealt with for, you know, the first one was in 2023, like at the beginning. And then it was like, okay, well, I'm in the hospital and this is way worse than I ever thought it was going to be. And then now it's been kind of the lingering effects of that and trying to figure it out and not finding answers and, you know, going back to the hospital. And, you know, it's been this type of thing, but it's, you know, it's hard. It can be hard to share that. Right. And so I've kind of opened up a little bit more, and, you know, some of it is in, at a documentary come out. And so some of it was in there, and then we put some stuff out on YouTube a little bit. Right. And then I've shared a little bit more as well with kind of the ongoing struggles, but, you know, it's okay. It's okay to show, like, look, I'm struggling, but then also within that struggle, I'm finding a way. Right? Like, I'm motivated to find a way. It's not me struggling and giving up. Right. It's me struggling and finding a way. And so, like, I know for you, man, like, you know, this challenge, because we talked about a little bit where you couldn't quite figure out what the heck was going on, and you were throwing up like how many times a day, and like, I mean, talk about that a little bit, because I think that, you know, we're talking about the gym, which I think is a 100% necessary way to develop this discipline, but also, you know, these challenges, like you said, sometimes real life hits you in the face, and you have to figure that out, you know. And so it's like, where do you go with that? So, like, I think it'd be fun to hear, you know, where you've had to go, right? Like, some of these challenges, because there's some dark spots, and it's again, it's taking it sometimes even an hour at a time, right? But finding a way to be positive in the darkest moments, and then that's where you go.
Dude, let me say something before I get into the story, because you just brought something up that, like, I truly believe. Like, I really think the only difference between who you are today and who you're going to be 5 years from now comes down to all of the little decisions that you make between now and then, right? And like, we both understand that things happen, right? And bad things happen, and bad things are guaranteed coming. They're coming, right? But the thing is that what you do with those challenges and how you attack those things, that is what defines you as a man, like, or as a person, like, not even as a man, just as a human being, right? And like, what you just described is, like, you went through this thing, right? And like, it's really hard for a person who, like, our identities, both of our identities, obviously you make me look like a little tiny person, but but like both of our identities are like, we're big, strong guys who, like, you can't be hurt, you can't be this, you can't be that, right? And like, no matter what injury, you're going to come back to. But when it comes to something like that, like, a lot of people take that victimhood, right? And like, that victimhood is something that you got to battle inside your head. And you're like, no matter what today, like, you find what you can do, and you focus on what you can do instead of what you can't do, or you think about what you do have versus what you don't have, instead of the opposite, which is complete being a victim, right?
Yes,
like,
it is.
You easily could have been like, well, this is all over for me, I can't do it. Like, whoa, it's me, this is my life, blah, blah, whatever, right? And like, being a victim is like the worst thing that, like, you could be as a human being. Like, you the second that you fall into that, things are only going to, everything's going to cascade down. Yep. Everything's going to get worse, you know?
Well, I mean, just to piggyback that a little bit is like that happened, and it was in the build up to World's Strongest Man, right?
Yeah.
So I was literally in the hospital, and I'm sitting there. I don't have answers for this, but you know, I was saying I had already made the call, right? This is my last World's Strongest Man. I'm going to figure it out. And so the day that I got out of the hospital, I got released. So they had a midline in me, right? And they were trying to leave it in me. And I said, well, can I work out with this thing in me? And they said, no. And I said, well, take it out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it in because I need to go train. So I literally left the hospital. I got discharged and went to the gym, right? And some people looked at that, and some people that have dealt with that type of cellulitis infection, they were like, I spent the next 3 weeks on the couch. Like, I don't know what you were doing, but you have a will, right? And I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And you know, really, this is, I mean, we could go down and talk about a lot of different situations and things where it didn't look like it was possible, right? Like, and I had that a lot in my strongman career, and a lot of it, some of it I shared, some of it I didn't, where it's like, I'm in the gym, and I think even the guys that trained with me sometimes would question and say like, I don't know if Brian's going to be able to do this, man.
Right.
And it was like, just all you have to do is give me the path, and I will figure it out, right? Like, I'm going to figure, and so I figured out how to get through that, to get back to compete at World's Strongest Man, which, you know, it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, but at the same time, it was still overcoming that adversity. And it was in a lot of ways a big win because I went through that, and then I came back and got out and still competed, right? Where again, I could have easily taken that victim mentality and said, hey guys, I know I announced this was going to be my last one. I'm in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 8 days, I think, or something with that, 8 or 9 days. So I was in the hospital. I'm out, right? Like, I'm not going to fight this battle. I'm not, it's so easy. And most people would have probably accepted that.
Yep.
Right.
Because it's the most legit excuse ever.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm in the hospital. I got to pull out. Okay. You know, poor me. I'm going to go. And I am going to go just sulk and whatever. Right. And it's choosing how you deal with that type of adversity that comes into your life. Right. Because I didn't want that. It wasn't like I chose it or anything. And you know, me being me, I was way more stubborn than I should have been in going to the hospital. And that probably made it much worse than it was going to be if I would have just said, oh, I'm going to go in because something's wrong. You know?
Right.
So, but that, the victim mentality, man, and things are going to happen. Like you just said, something bad is coming.
Yep. Right.
And something that is real life is coming. It is, right? Yep. So like, how do you build yourself up for that so you're prepared? Yeah. But go, man. I love it. I love where you're going.
I do want to say something because what you just said about who you are, right? Like you, the person who decided to go from the hospital to the gym because you knew that that's what your next step needed to be. Like, I saw that in you the first night that I met you, right? Like, for you guys listening, so we have a common friend, Andy Shadow, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome dude. And Andy trains at home in Maryland with me, and he's also like a huge training partner of yours, and he let me tag along. And so I find myself knocking on the hotel door at the Arnold, and suddenly you come through the door, and you don't even fit in the door, right? You're like crouched to like come shake my hand. I'm like, holy crap, right? So we go in, and we're all hanging out. And we hung out for like an hour and a half or something before we left for the show. Yeah. And when we were hanging out, you were Brian, right? Like, you were talking game plan, but still being chill, doing your stuff, like just being Brian, right? Yeah. And then I'm not going to tell people your little, like, how you get ready, right? But like, and there's all types of like empirical evidence and scientific stuff behind this about like your autonomic nervous system is sympathetic and parasympathetic, and I can use a bunch of big words to describe what happened, right? But this is what happened, right? You did something. You stood up, and you were no longer Brian. You were Brian Shaw, right? And there's Brian Shaw who goes out there on the stage and does his thing. And then there's Brian who's like playing with his sons and hanging out and like laughing and being whatever, right? And it's two very different things. And you stood up, and it was like that switch, right? And that switch can be taught, right? Like, you can learn how to do that. And the thing about like strongman and everything is you need to be able to turn it on and then turn it back off, or else you're exhausted by the, you know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
yes.
And that's true for everything in life, right? Like if you can control your mind when everyone else is losing theirs, you win,
yes,
right?
You do.
And
yes, you do.
But I will say, like, that person that I saw that went from like Brian, who was like just being Brian, and you stood up and you switched, and that switch happened, and I was like, that's Brian Shaw. Like it was different, right? And then you went on, and that's the same person who like got out of the hospital and was like, I got to go.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
you switched it, right? And it was just another time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we mentioned briefly that I did counterterrorism for about a decade back in the day, right? And ended up quitting that job because I wasn't really happy about what I was doing, right? And decided to open a gym. It was strongman gym. I had never done strongman. Actually, my first strongman training ever was with your wife.
Yeah, yeah.
I had never touched a farmer's stand. I never touched a stone, but I'd signed up for a competition, right? And literally a common friend of Carrie's, he brought me to her gym and was like, hey, can you show him how to pick up an Atlas stone? And so literally I learned how to pick up Atlas stones, and the next week I went and competed, right?
Yeah.
So like you've been part of my journey the entire time since my very first strongman competition. So it's cool for all this come full circle. Anyway, I was doing counterterrorism, and at some point I had gotten in water that was dirty, and there's something called schistomiasis, and I'm saying that wrong, and people are going to be like, you saying it wrong, blah. I lived it, all right? Like, I don't care if I can't say it.
That's fair. I will side with you on that.
They're big words. I'm like, I'm not a doctor. I'm a stupid meathead. Like, come on, like, give me a break.
Yeah.
So anyway, some worms swam through my skin, and they lay dormant for a couple years. And so I quit the counterterrorism job, was working at the gym, and I've been in the gym like 1 or 2 years, and like was doing pretty well in strongman for like my level strongman, not your level strongman.
No,
but like,
of course, but still, man.
Like going to nationals and like doing okay, you know? And so one day I wake up and I'm like, I don't feel very good. And not feeling very good led to throwing up. And then throwing up led to throwing up like 3 times a day. And then 3 times a day became 10 times a day. 10 times a day became like 20 times. And eventually got to the point where like I was throwing up like 30 to 50 times a day, and I stopped eating food because I couldn't, I was sick I just felt nauseous all the time, and I couldn't tell when it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I remember being at Walmart buying dog food for my big stupid dogs. Yeah. And I remember a dude asked me if I needed help, and I looked at him and I just went, blah, and just puked on the floor. And I was like, this is so embarrassing. Like, right? I can't control my body, right? And I felt like I was betrayed because my whole life had been about training my body through like martial arts and lifting and now strongman and doing all these things.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, in about a month and a half, I went from 273 down to 205 and kept going to doctors. Everywhere I was going to doctors. Sure. And no one had a clue, right? Because this parasite, they didn't know it was a parasite yet. They just knew, literally doctors were telling me, they're like, you are the healthiest dying person we know. Like you are on your way. Like you get your affairs in order because you are going, but we don't know why you're throwing up, right? So, and schistomiasis is the second deadliest parasite in the world behind malaria. So it kills 240,000 people a year in Africa alone. So it's like a massive, massive thing. Like it makes COVID look stupid. Like, you know what I mean? And, but no one knew, right? So I'm literally just going along, and because I couldn't recover, because I couldn't eat, I couldn't hold on to food, like I ended up tearing my rotator cuff, and it was the first time, but prior to this, man, I was the strongest I've ever been. I was benching over 500 pounds. I was like, I am making a run. I'm going to be able to make a run at like 230 pounds, 230 pounds. And so I tore my rotator cuff, got that fixed. But even when I went in for the surgery for that, literally the nurses and doctors are like, you don't need a rotator. You need to figure out what's wrong with you. And I'm like, no one can figure.
Yes.
So anyway.
How frustrating.
It was terrible. So I come out of that surgery, right? I'm rehabbing the shoulder, and you've had shoulder surgery. Shoulder surgery is no fun. And so I come out of it all, and it ends up getting an infection. And there was like this big bump where like they did like the incision and stuff. And I went back in, and the doctor was like, we need to do an emergency surgery right now. And so they did an emergency surgery because of that. Came back out, and I was so messed up that they had to put a PICC line in my chest. Like, right? And so same thing. I'm like, what can I do? And I remember doing a log clean and press, rolling over top of the PICC line. And I was at the Arnold with you. Yeah. And I remember I needed to take breaks to do the syringe
and drain
antibiotics.
it, right?
Yeah, and drain it, right?
Yeah,
like, and like flush it out and do all this gross stuff. And
bro, yeah.
I remember being at the Arnold doing that, like with you. Now that I think about it, like I was there with you for that. But literally, it was the next year. This all continued, right? Got the PICC line out, like was recovering, was slowly building back, but was still throwing up every day.
Yeah.
Came back, and it was the next year's Arnold, and I ran into Mark Bell. We were going around, and I'm friends with Mark, and literally Mark is like, I've been thinking, and this is when Mark dropped all that weight. Mm-hmm. Remember when Mark went from like big Mark to like, he originally got like, and I remember seeing him, I'm like, Mark, you look great. He's like, dude, you look like hell. He's like, what is, and
what's going on? Yeah.
So he put me in contact with a doctor named Gabriel Lyon. And she's kind of famous on Instagram now, but she deals with nothing, but she's like married to a SEAL and like deals with nothing but like SEALs, Delta, like special operations, stuff like that. People who have been overseas and get these things, she's like, literally, she now talks about all the time. She's like, every single person that she has worked with that has been over in like places, comes back and has some sort of parasite. And so in order to get tested for this, they need to put a probe up your butt.
Wonderful.
Right. And the funny thing is that like, I have this whole video on my YouTube. I'm not going to get into it, but like, it's hilarious, the whole story, right? Because I did not know that was going to happen. Right.
You weren't prepared.
I was not mentally prepared. Right.
How do you get prepared?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. But like literally the guy he's like, okay, bend over the table and stuff. And he starts doing the probe thing. And I'm like, are we done? Like, this is taking a while. And he's like, yeah, you wouldn't believe this is 10 inches long. And I literally ripped around because you're thinking the same thing I was thinking.
Yes, yeah. Not good.
Like, I'm like, 10 inches, right? So anyway, they found out that I had this parasite. And then it was literally like 2 little like 30-cent pills that cured me, right?
Just how long?
Probably 3 or 4 years.
That you dealt with that.
Yeah. And man, talk about getting dark. I mean, you've had the flu.
Yeah.
Like, people have the flu for 3 days and they want to kill themselves. Like, bro, 3 to 4 years.
Constant. Like you never get away from it.
Never got away from it. Yeah. And it was literally the darkest time of my life.
Yes.
Like by far, right? But if it weren't for running into Mark Bell at the Arnold, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here we are on the other side of it, right? And I've never.
So how long has it been since that? Like that's now?
A good question. It's probably been about 5 years since I stopped throwing up. Like 4 or 5 years since most of the throwing up goes well. Every once in a while, I'll still get nauseous, stuff like that. But honestly, for the most part, like it's
so the damage that was done. Like how much of that was is it reversible, or is there still stuff that like that you're dealing with because of that? There's
still stuff that I was dealing with, but a lot of it's been healed. Like. A crazy part, man, is that when it was at its worst, I've always been like a stupid little daredevil, like since a little kid, like just doing dumb stuff, right?
Yeah.
And when I was real sick, I actually got afraid of heights. I've never been afraid of heights in my life, and like I would get on top of a ladder and like feel scared.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I've jumped off of like
a lot. Yeah.
Just done stupid things,
Of course.
And like became claustrophobic, and I've never been claustrophobic, and because I've had a brain tumor since in my 20s. And so I've always had to get regular MRIs, right?
Okay.
And
but it's going in that tube is now.
Well, it was, right?
Okay,
but so like since it's got healed, like now I'm not afraid of heights anymore. Now
very interesting. Why? I wonder why that is.
I don't know, but they literally like sometimes parasites if they get, and I don't know anything. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. If Dr. Lyon was here, she'd be like, "You're an idiot. Stop talking."
Yeah, just listen.
Just stop. Just stop. Right? But like, apparently, like it can mess with your brain pretty hardcore, and like. Man, that's one of the reasons why I got involved in mental health is because I was like, prior to that, like I come from like a blue collar family, like we have similar backgrounds, right? And like men don't talk about their feelings, men don't talk about mental health, like any of those things, And but when I was in those places and it got pretty dark for me, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like I was fighting that fight alone because no one could relate.
Yeah.
How
was it with your wife? With that, like when you were going through that, because it's, I think that the person that's closest to you, right? Like it's, I would only have to imagine that she probably felt like, well, I wish I could help.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're probably like, you're dealing with so much and keeping it in. And then how much do you share with her? Yeah. Because you don't want her to be worried or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that. That's like, cause I know for me with Carrie, it's like, as I've gone through different challenges, sometimes like I will almost put on a face and say like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm fine. I'm all right. Please don't worry. And the last thing I want you to do is worry. Like I'm going to handle it. Like, even though maybe inside I'm not sure, it's like, I'm going to say that I am, so like, how is that? Cause she's obviously seen you go through this.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, like, I think you say that like we hide it from our wives, right?
Yeah.
Which is a joke. Like if you and your wife really love each other, you're not hiding anything.
No,
man.
And she knows.
Like she knows, right?
Yeah.
Like we try to hide things, but and I think in a lot of ways it's harder on them than it is us, because we're the ones dealing with it, and we're like, whatever, like I'll suck it up, I'll get through it, I'll do whatever. But like for them, we're their men, we're their protector, we're the strength. You're the guy that was never going to get hurt. You were the guy that was never going to die. And like now they're watching you just go down, and for them, and man, I gotta say, like, man, my wife is like my best friend in the world, because she's the only one who really saw it, right? And like
from the inside,
the inside. And as much as like we try to be cool, and like when you are hurting that bad, like you become a jerk, right? Like there's times when like,
I can imagine just feeling like that, man.
Yeah.
Like on a daily basis has got to be like, where did you have to go? Like mentally, right? Cause I know for me, it's, this leg thing. And there was, I had a really bad nerve injury, that for whatever reason couldn't get figured out. And and that was 2000, like end of 2012 into 2013. And, my hand started like atrophying, and it was stopping. I couldn't work. Like my hand didn't work anymore. Like, and it got so bad that I couldn't even grab like a door handle and twist it. Like, it's very debilitating. I couldn't put my socks on. I couldn't get dressed. Like couldn't tie my shoes. So it was like, but I remember like during that time, it's like trying to find something positive to focus on, because it's like, it's this negative thing and you don't have answers, and it can feel terrible, like, and that was, for me, probably one of the lower points, because like I didn't have, like, my personal life was kind of in in a really bad spot. And there was just kind of a lot of things cascading together. Yeah. Whereas like now my hand's not working, right? It's really bad. Like it's like all these things, like everything seems super negative. So you're in this spiral of negative. So I know for me, it was trying to find the positive to pull myself out. Yep. And then it was trying to be grateful for what I could find. And sometimes it was super small things. Yeah. But it's such a shift. So like right now, I'm very big on gratitude as well. But me too. It's huge in the way that can shift your day. Right?
Gratitude is a superpower, man.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're having a bad day, think about things you're grateful for, and it's real hard to feel sorry for yourself anymore.
Yes, it is. Yeah. But going there, I mean, after so long, right? Like when you're going through that, and this is, I'm trying to share like stories to relate, but it's like, this is different because that nerve thing was only, probably 6 to 8 months total. Right? Only. Yeah. But comparatively to years of throwing up. Right. Like that's like it's a different spot. So it's like you're going downhill, you're fighting this. And I know you, and I'm sure you were searching for answers, and you're frustrated, and you have emotion tied into that, and why. And, especially too, because when this first started happening, like you were on the rise, right? And coming up, and it's like, now all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, I didn't choose this. Like, that's not where I was supposed to be at. I'm supposed to be progressing, and now I'm not. Right. And now like, then it goes from that to like, your life is in danger. Yeah. Right. Like it wasn't as simple. I always say to people like surgery, right? Like if you get hurt, there's an answer. Yep. You can get a surgery, then you go through the recovery, then it's pretty much done. Right. Right. Like
then you're back on path.
It's completely, but to have something where you don't have an answer,
it's hard.
There is no, like, you're going to people, and if those people can't give you an answer, there's no direction. Now it's a different feeling. Yeah. It's a different set of emotions that go along with that versus like, oh crap, I got hurt. I can get this fixed. This is the answer. I may not like the answer, but I can get through it. Yep. So to go there and live there, it's a drain on you, man. It's but also something where I would argue that with all the stuff that you went through, that being a major part of it, that made you stronger.
Yeah.
Right. So like right now, the person that's sitting here is a stronger version of you before that happened.
Yes.
Right. Like, so you're coming out the back end and now you're literally even better.
Yep.
Which is cool. It sucks that you had to go through all that, but also you're stronger.
Yeah.
You know,
like in a different way. And honestly, man, you asked about my mindset, and like through that thing, everyone's like, how'd you keep working out? Like if you're throwing up, like literally I'd be mid-set and throw up, or I'd have to stop and walk outside and throw up. And like, I'd be coaching classes and go outside and throw up. And like, it was really hard. It was really hard. And I couldn't have done it without like the close-knit people around me and stuff. But like, honestly, man, like I came up with the term "suffer beautifully," which is like a shirt that like I put it, you know, and I had to live that, because you put something on a shirt, you got to live it, you know?
Yes.
And then number two, man, I realized I'm too blessed not to. Yeah, like I'm too blessed not to work out. I'm too blessed not to go for a walk. I'm too blessed not to do something, right? Because like I'm a Christian, and I truly believe that like every single thing that we get is a gift, good or bad. Everything's a gift. Like that was a gift, like you said. Like I came out the other side, and I've had the great chance to work with a lot of adaptive athletes, like guys like without legs, without arms, without hands, and my very first introduction to that was this guy named Zabi Osa, who's now like an adaptive CrossFit. Like he's high up. He's an awesome dude, right? And seriously, one of the best people I've ever met in my life. Well, Zabi was born where like this arm is he was born without this arm up to the elbow, and this hand is kind of like almost like he's like a mini like love symbol, right?
Okay.
And so he comes to my gym, like my YouTube channel's exploding and people are always coming and visiting and want to meet and stuff. And so there's a group of guys coming, and I'm just shaking their hands down the line, and I go to shake this hand and I'm like, I don't have a full hand, right?
Yep.
And I'd never worked with adaptive athletes, and I'm like, I'm not trained for this. I don't have any clue what I'm doing. So I play it off, and I'm like, all right, guys, you guys go get warmed up. I'm going to fill out some paperwork. I'll be with you in a minute. And I literally turn around, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these people. And Nick Myers, my right-hand man, he literally slaps me in the arm. He's like, hey, dude, check it out. And Zabi, like on a rogue rack, like this like 10-foot high pull-up bar, like he's literally up there doing muscle-ups with like half a hand and an elbow. And like
holy cow,
he's benching, balancing the bar on his elbow and doing clean and presses and stuff. And like in that moment, like my whole idea of possible and impossible kind of went out the window.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
I love that.
And when that happens, so like I get to see these guys do all this stuff and just these incredible things. And like literally what I used to think was impossible was like Tuesday, you know, and just happened all the time. And when you start living like that, like when something terrible like that happened, I realized like Zabi has every reason in the world to quit. My buddy Miles, who has CP, like you saw him at the Arnold, like do that. Like literally all these guys that I wear, guys, girls, I'm just saying guys, like whatever. And they have every reason to quit.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
You can't tie your shoes on your own. You can't and yet you're in here deadlifting your body weight. 2 times your body weight,
which
right?
Is incredible. Yeah.
Incredible, right? And like, no matter what happens to you, no matter how bad life beats you down, like you are too blessed not to, right? And that doesn't mean that you need to go out and set world records, but like if you can take 10 steps, take 11.
Yeah.
If you can lift a weight, do like you there's ways to find opportunities to become better.
Yes.
And if you do not take advantage of that, no matter where you are in life, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done, right?
Yeah.
Like you've stopped growing. The second you stop growing, you are dying.
Yeah.
Right? There is no like maintaining, like you are getting better. Every single decision that you make is either moving you closer toward or further away from the person that you want to be.
I love that.
And like when I was super sick, I was like, yeah, I feel like death. I don't want to do it. But you know what? Like you with the cold water, most people would not do this. And I am not most people. And that's a choice.
Yes, it is.
It's not because that's how I was born. It's not because I'm tough. It's not because any of the, it's a choice. It's a choice every day. And every day it's hard, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So life moving forward, brother. I would love to, get your insight, because you shared some really exciting news with me.
I did.
Really exciting news. And, I'm number one, so happy for you. So I'll let you say.
So, yeah, at 45 years old, I am about to be a dad.
So cool.
And that was something I don't come from like the best background. You know what I mean? And so I was always like, I'm never going to have kids. I'm never going to have, it's not my thing. I don't like it, whatever. And I remember being at your house, sitting in your living room 7-8 years ago, whatever it was. And I was talking to you and Carrie, and I was like, guys, I don't think I could ever be a dad. Because you had just had Braxton, and you guys were going through this transition, and you could tell how happy you were, and like you'd hold him and you'd have this look, and I'm like, I don't know. That's not me, man. That's not me. You know what I mean? And I remember talking to you, and you guys I was talking about my dog, right? Because I was like, I love my dog more than I love anything, right? Yep. And I remember Carrie looking at me and being like, because you guys had sushi at the time, right?
Or Lexi.
Yeah. And I remember her looking at me and said, the second I had a baby, I didn't care about my dog at all. And she was like, prior to that dog was my world. She's like, it changes. And so now I'm getting, tomorrow my wife and I are literally hiking to one of the tops of the mountains in out there in Evergreen, Colorado. And we are going to open an envelope that's going to tell us
amazing
whether we're having a little girl or a little boy. I don't even need to tell anybody who I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm hoping it's a little boy because that's all I know.
Yes.
But yeah, man. So we've been out here in Colorado for about 2 months, and we are looking for a house. So I think we're going to be relocating out here and cool. Trying some new plans and having a new baby. And
oh my God, it's amazing, man. It's such a what I will say is the amount of, because I went through certain points too where I was like, I was unsure. Yeah. I remember when I was a little bit younger, I was like, I really don't know. Right. But I think there's not in I guess, however people want to take this, I feel like there's not enough good people having kids, right? Because what value you can bring to a child in this world and their outlook is going to be so valuable, right? So like just the stuff we're talking about right now, you being able to share that with your baby is going to be so cool, right? And it'll come over time and come in stages, but the amount of like fulfillment that you will get out of that, like you and your wife, right? Because it's all these moments, right? It's this now everybody's gonna say, oh, it's gonna go by quick and it's gonna this and but I would say like the first year for me, it was being super supportive, right? So it's like you're supportive because really the mom is way more important the first year.
She's the lifeline.
Way more important. It's like you, as a dad, you feel kind of helpless. I did at least. I was kind of like, okay, I'm not providing the food here. Like it's, you're doing everything. And I'm just like, hey, can I help? How can I help you? Right. And then once that first year was over, it's like, okay, now the baby's getting mobile and like moving and doing different smiles and giggles, so it's like, it's so fulfilling, but there's moments that I would say like that first year, right? Like it's trying to get the baby to sleep. Right. Yeah. And I remember in our house when we had Braxton, there was for whatever reason, there was like a squeak in the floor. Yeah. And of course it's dead silent and you work. And he was one that like you had to work incredibly hard to get him to sleep. And then to lay him down, you take that deep breath and then it was the exit. Yeah. How can I get out of here? And I had this route where I would put him in his crib and then I would have to walk like out like 3 steps and then over and then hope the door didn't make any noise. Cause if he heard one creak, it was immediate crying. Back, yeah. So, but it was like those moments where I remember holding him and I was like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired right now. Like I can't, cause a lot of times it would be like Carrie would take her turn and then it was my turn. Right. So it's like, I'm in here, it's my turn. And it was like, I remember thinking to myself in those moments, I'm like, I am exhausted. All I want to do is just go sleep. Right. And this baby's crying or upset and I'm walking around, I'm trying to sing the little songs and do the things and whatever. And I was like, there's going to be a time where I'm going to look back on this and hope like I'm going to wish that I enjoyed this moment. Yeah. Right. Like, right? Like and that was something that for whatever reason, it was kind of like that stuck with me. So I tried always like in those moments where I was so tired, I was like, okay, just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Right. And it's like those type of moments, because it'll go by so quick.
Because you never get it again.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's going to be so cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, just even talking about that stuff is like,
you completely change when you talk about it. Like, it's,
and now, even now, man, it's like now they're finally like they're getting older now at 7 and 9, where they're getting into sports, and they're, we're talking about different things with discipline and hard work, and if they want to achieve certain things, and so you're getting to I'm getting to share all that, and then of course with you and your wife, it's going to be neat. I think a lot of parents don't understand how much kids watch and absorb, right? And I think that especially new parents now, it's not so much what you say, it's what you do.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think by and large across, let's just say all aspects of life, I think that's also, now we live in a society where there's so much talk and not enough action.
Completely agree.
So your action, because that's what we've seen is like, okay, I could talk until I was blue in the face sometimes, but it's like, okay, well, if our boys see me working hard, right, it's like, well, that's what I'm going to take. And then I think about my dad, and I saw him work hard,
exactly,
like incredibly hard.
He set your barrier.
Yes.
Right?
And so for me, it was like, well, that's the standard.
Yep.
I've got to always try to live up to that.
Yes.
Right. And so it's something where they look and watch, and it's not so much the talking, because I think a lot of parents, you get caught up in the talking, and it's like, well, if you say one thing but you do something different,
they get that.
They
right?
do, and they pick up on it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like, okay, what standard are you going to set? And then that kind of goes full circle back to good people having kids. It makes the world a better place. Yeah. Right. So it's like I think that you being a dad is going to be a good thing, man. It's going to be really good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you're gonna see him grow up.
Dude,
I'm gonna get a little
nervous?
girl.
Are you nervous about it?
I don't
tomorrow?
know yet. I don't know. Tomorrow, this might be the first time that I actually feel nervous about it, right? Because like up to this point, it's just like this thing that exists, kind of like this alien. You know what I mean?
Yep. You don't know.
But tomorrow, it's the first step of it getting a personality. You know what I mean? Because you're like, it's a little boy or it's a little girl. That's a defining thing. It is. And like, I'd say this is, I actually thought about this morning. I was getting ready to come drive over here, and I was like, man, I'm going to find out the sex of my kid tomorrow.
Right.
Like that's a mind blowing.
It's a moment you'll remember.
Yeah.
Forever, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember for me, it was the first time we went in for an appointment where I heard the heartbeat.
Yeah.
That was like, I remember just sitting in my chair, and I was like, that is literally a heartbeat.
Yeah. There's a little person in there.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
And it was like this, I think I even have a video somewhere of it, but it was just like this moment where it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have it, and you have a lot of wow moments coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just one of them. But I remember being kind of nervous about the is it a boy? Is it a girl? And then for me, I was like, man, if it's a girl, I might struggle. Like, I don't know.
I know.
And then what's funny is I've had buddies that have had girls, and they're like, I wouldn't want to have a boy. And I'm like, okay, I don't know, like that. But I guess it's kind of like you will figure it out, right?
Yeah,
like you figure it out
everything else, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no doubt that I'd love a little girl. There's no doubt. And I'm saying a lot of funny, like whatever, but like I think for guys like you and I that like, I mean, in a world that doesn't embrace masculinity, we both embrace masculinity and like honor and standing up for something and being the protector, being the provider, being the traditional masculine roles, right? And like with a little boy, I'm like, there's so much that I want to share about that.
Yes.
Like that isn't being shared, that like if you just went to like school and you did like, you're going to get one view. That's not the view that I want. Yep. Like I want to instill some things in this human being. And I come with a girl or a boy, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but like there's something about a boy that like the stuff that you and I said to each other today is like, that's who we are.
Yes.
Right. Like that's in us.
Yep.
And it's because of our dads. It's because of our mentors. It's because of that coach. It's because of, and I want to do that. I want to share that with a little person.
Yes.
Well,
and that, those qualities, and I've said this to a lot of people with kids. It's now with the way society is shifting. If you have if you have a child that has those qualities, right? Hard work, discipline, dreaming, right? Like aspiring to be something better, to be great in some aspect of their life, in all aspects of their life. They're going to run over the other kids. Yeah. They're going to be the ones that get the opportunities. And, you know, it's this, you know, I guess softness in a way, right? Like, and you see it now with our boys getting into sports and some of the rules. Like, what are we doing? It's like, oh, we can't keep score because that could hurt their feelings. But, you know, for me, even us now, like we tell them the score. They need to know if they won or lost.
Yes.
Right? Because yes, I want you to go have fun, but also you're playing a sport where there's going to be a team that wins or loses, or an individual sport where there's one winner and one loser.
Yep.
That's it, right? Like, so it's very important to understand that. And also when you get into the real world, if you're trying to get an opportunity, there's going to be somebody that gets opportunity and somebody that doesn't.
Yes.
Right. So you can try to protect kids, I guess, but you're not protecting them from anything that they're not going to at some point have to learn the hard way.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like,
because they're going to lose.
Yes.
And if they don't learn that in like T-ball, and they learn that with a bigger, that's harder, right? Like,
you can get so much out of losing too.
Yes.
Right? Like you can
100%.
learn. You can learn, but
win or learn, right?
If it's all like, oh, hey guys, we had a great game, we tied. Nobody wins, nobody loses.
What's the point?
You're not doing any favors for kids.
I don't think so either, man.
Yes. So it's exciting, man. It's like you get that, but then you can navigate that course, and the world may be going one way and it's all right to go a different way.
Yeah,
right.
Man.
Like
it's
okay.
I agree.
It's going to be good, but I'm very excited about like everything you've got going on, dude. It's
me too, brother.
You've inspired a lot of people like over the years, and you know, this conversation, I wish we could go on longer, but
I know
we have obligations.
We got to get to, right?
Things to do. But yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out Brian's stuff, you know, head over to YouTube. Is that probably the best place, or is Instagram as well?
Yeah, I mainly do YouTube. Like that's kind of where my focus is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, we'll link it below this podcast so you can check him out, man. But great conversation,
man.
Insight, advice. I think, you know, there's a lot of really positive takeaways.
Yeah.
You know, from this, which at the end of the day, man, that's what it's all about, right? Like it's, you know, you go through and have the experiences, and then to be able to have conversations like this on the backside of going through life experiences. And, you know, I know there's somebody out there right now listening to this that's going through a challenge or going through something or setting goals, right? And it's like, well, here's the path that's in front of me. But, you know, just going down that path and making the choices, the sum of all your small choices will lead you to where you want to go.
100%, man. Like literally, I think we laid out what someone needs to do to become successful, from hard work to overcoming to gratefulness, like everything that we just said. I think if people can glean some messages from this, the world moves out of the way of people who know where they're going.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It does.
And you've been a great example of that. And I thank you so much for all the opportunities that you provided me over the years. And I mean, I'm grateful for our friendship, man.
100%, brother.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. We'll have to do it again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now you're going to be in Colorado.
I know. We're going to do it all the time.
Who knows, man? I love it. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Hope you're all doing amazing. For now, going to be great, and we'll check you guys later. If you enjoyed this podcast episode and would like to listen to another, click right here. And to stay informed about new podcast episodes, click here to subscribe.